up, everybody? Welcome back to the TuVues podcast, man. Y'all know what it is. It's Keith, Dr. Keith here, and Kev G here, ready to give y'all some more information. And hopefully, can we uplift you and uplift some others, so that we can make this society a better place. Just glad to be with y'all again one more time.
What's up with y'all? The family back, man. TuVues podcast. We just got something to talk about. We're gonna talk about it. Hope you guys enjoy it. Tap in with us. Just tap in.
Y'all know how we start this off, man. How we started off every podcast, man, with Kev G's top five. Let's
You
get
heard?
it.
Here we go. Today's top five. We're gonna talk about y'all know we talk about food a lot. So it's gonna be another food one. All right. So we're gonna do the top 5 fast food specialty items. Top 5 fast food specialty items. Now this could be past or present. Past or present, top 5 fast food specialty items. I'm gonna let you run yours off first. Let's go.
I'm gonna kick it off, and all of mine are past. All of mine are past. I'm just gonna go ahead and kick it off. So let me go with my 2 honorable mentions. First, I'm gonna go with the McDonald's wings. You remember they had the wingettes at McDonald's?
Man, that is
Those
not.
Hold on. Hear me out.
They was
And my
fire. No, they was fire though, but man,
it's fire though, bro. So my most of my list gonna be McDonald's actually. And then my other honorable mention is the McDonald's Reese's McFlurry.
that ain't no.
What you mean?
Okay.
That's a specialty item.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not just. Go ahead, man. Just go. Go.
All right, the Reese's McFlurry. I like Reese's. The Reese's McFlurry. That's special. So my number 5 is going. And I don't know if you've ever eaten this. I don't know if you like blue cheese, but for me, my number 5 is when Wendy's had the bacon and blue burger. The bacon and blue burger is my number 5 from Wendy's. I love bacon and blue burger. I love blue cheese on a burger. It tastes good.
That's not even in my bottom 100. Keep going, man.
Dang, because you ain't never had it though. If you had it, think different. My number 4.
Blue cheese ain't the greatest thing to eat, bro.
I like blue cheese. My number 4, man, is Taco Bell's Gordita.
Forgot about the gordita.
The gordita. I'm telling you that yes, you know that's to be one of your favorite Taco Bell items. So I know it'd be in your top 5. So
the thing is, you can still get them though. You can get the chalupa meal. I know that you can get chalupa meal, but tell them to make it a gordita. They just don't fry the shell.
Man, I don't want to do all that. They should have just kept the gordita on the menu.
I think the chalupa better.
Nah, I'm gonna have to pass. All right, my number 3 is no, I think I messed up. Hold on. So I'm sorry. The McWings is my 4. I'm sorry. The McWings are my 5. The Wendy's Bacon and Blue is my 4. The Taco Bell Gordita is my number 3.
Pause.
My number.
Yeah. Pause.
Yeah.
So you got the wings over. You know what? Keep going. Never mind. Keep going. You done lost the bro.
Hear me out. My number 2 is the McDonald's the McSalad Shakers. Right, that's my number 2. It's the McShaker salad. They should never got rid of those actually. And my number 1 is just recently went off the McDonald's menu, man. But the steak bagel. My number 1 is the steak bagel. Kevin put me on something ingenious with the steak bagel though. I never do it till Kevin told me to. You get the steak bagel and you sub the bagel for a biscuit. The steak biscuit.
I have one even better.
That's my number 1.
Damon Gladney put me on this one. You sub the bagel or the biscuit for McGriddle.
Nah, I'm gonna take the biscuit, bro.
Right. Gladney put me on that for McGriddle. Bro, it's fire. What you mean it's off the menu? I think the bagel might be off the menu, but you can still get the steak on like a biscuit
down here. I haven't seen the steak. I haven't seen the steak on any McDonald's anywhere lately. And I remember reading an article that they discontinued the steak bagel as an item. So, man, tell me where it's at. I'm gonna get one. I get one when I come up north this weekend. But yeah, so my number 5 is those. My number 5 is those McWings. 4 is the Wendy's Bacon and Blue Burger. 3 is the Taco Bell Gordita. My 2 is the McShakers, the McSalad Shakers, and my number 1 is the steak bagel. Go, man.
I'm disappointed in some of this. You might not agree with some of mine either, though, but
probably
it is what it is. only got one honorable mention, man. My honorable mention is the monster biscuit from Hardee's.
The omelet?
Man, no, the monster biscuit is.
I ain't
It's
never
a
had a monster
biscuit, bro.
biscuit.
Bro, Hardee's monster biscuit. You get it's the bacon, the sausage,
Why you
and
so
the ham
happy
on
though,
the
bro?
biscuit. Bro, that monster biscuit is fire,
Well,
man.
why you so happy about it?
Bro, if I like Hardee's food for some reason, man. With that monster
Yeah,
biscuit,
yeah.
fire. All right,
I
that's my
never had
honorable mention.
that.
But here we go. Here go my 5, man. My 5 is the McDonald's eggnog milkshake. McDonald's
Hey,
eggnog milkshake is
hey,
fire.
hey, bro, sign off, man. You why?
Fire.
Hey,
That's
you
my
got mad
5.
about the McWings and you put the eggnog milkshake.
You,
Come on,
I,
man. All
I'm
right, go,
very,
man.
I'm gonna get to the McWing thing. My number 4 is a strawberry shortcake from Portillo's.
I
Everybody
never
think
had
that cake
that.
is fire. Everybody think that cake fire. Go get the strawberry shortcake from Portillo's.
I never
Killing
had
the
no
cake.
strawberry shortcake from
Killing the cake.
Portillo's.
Killing the cake.
Okay.
My number 3. I'm finna jump to Taco Bell on with you. My number 3, Taco Bell nacho fries. Them seasoned fries and that
No,
nacho cheese dipping sauce. Man, you
no.
crazy.
I
Nacho
had those once and
fries.
I had
Them
them once and
nacho-
ain't never had them since.
Taco Bell nacho fries. Fire.
All right. Hey,
I
bro,
think
you
I'm missing
geeked
one.
though.
Know what, man? Now look at my list. I missed the salad shaker. The salad shaker should be on this, but should be on this. I ain't got none of this. My number 2 though, and you really pissed me off. I'm gonna say it
Hmm.
when you said Reese's McFlurry is honorable mention. You got the wings as 5. Man, Reese's McFlurry is the number 2 specialty item in the history of fast food. The Reese's McFlurry.
Nah.
This food had it as an honorable mention. An
Yeah,
honorable mention.
man. Them wings,
Man,
man.
you
Yeah.
crazy. And like I said, the salad
We
shaker,
could
I
have
should
put
have
they
put.
brown. Yeah, you got they brownie Sunday too. I forgot about McDonald's brownie
Forgot
Sunday.
about the brownie Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But that was back in old school. Now, salad shaker, I should have had on my list, but my number 1, and I'm shocked this ain't on your list, is from McDonald's. That grilled chicken flatbread.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but that was honorable mention for me. I wanna. You said we only can have
Mention
3. I loved it.
that
I
grilled,
loved it, but it's honorable
that
mention for
grilled,
me,
bro.
man.
That grilled chicken flatbread, bro.
Yeah, it
Bro,
was good, but it's
my
yeah.
mouth watering right now thinking about it. Bro, if they bring those back, I'm
Hey,
eating one every day.
shit, I feel. Hey, but
Every day.
you know what was crazy about those mixed salad shakers though? They had more calories than the any sandwich on the menu. It
I
was
think
a
that's why they
salad,
probably took. I think that's why they probably took them off, man. Especially if you get
man.
the grilled chicken season one and you get 2 Caesar packets.
No, man, you give me
Man,
the give me the chef salad,
no,
bro.
give me that Caesar, boy.
Man,
A grilled chicken Caesar salad. But that's the best way to do it, though. If you go order a salad, put it in a shaker, put
and shake it
your dressing
up.
in there and shake it. People do that anyway when they get a salad. They put it in the thing,
Yeah,
they put the lid back on, and they shake it.
yeah.
They
They
need
need to
to
bring
bring
those
those salad
back though,
shakers back.
bro.
Straight up. They need to
Yeah,
bring them back. They can make them a little bit healthier. I don't know how to make them healthier, but they should bring
keep it
them
like
back
it
for
was,
sure.
bro. Keep those like
So,
it
so
was.
those are 2 things I want McDonald's to bring back: is the Reese's McFlurry and the salad shaker.
And if they
They should
can
bring
bring
those
back
back.
that flatbread was legit.
Man, that flatbread was fire. I was gonna put on here the McDonald's fries when they had the cheese sauce.
Yeah, a lot of people don't remember that, man. I'm like, y'all crazy.
Cheese sauce. Yes, sir. So that's my top 5, man. I'm going with the eggnog fire, the strawberry shortcake from Portillo's, nacho fries, Reese's McFlurry, grilled chicken flatbread. Holla at me. Holla at me.
Hmm. Now your list was I never 2 of them I never had. I never had the Hardee's monster biscuit. And I never had the strawberry shortcake.
Bro. Hey, the monster biscuit. Listen, you know you like the steak biscuit. The monster biscuit it comes with sausage, bacon, and ham. Bro, it
They're
come with
so
all the
happy.
meats.
They're so happy.
You want to talk about some high calorie?
Hey, bro, but your
Fire though.
nacho
Them
fries can
biscuits.
get off that list though.
No, nacho fries be fire. Them seasoned fries dipping in that nacho sauce. Taco Bell already got the best nacho sauce, so
I give it to you.
that's my top. That's my top 5, man.
All
Let's see
right,
what y'all
man.
got, man. Let's see what y'all top 5 is, man. See what y'all come up with y'all specialty items. They have to be specialty items, right? It can't be nothing like a double cheeseburger. You know what I mean? It's got to be something special on any restaurant menu. Might be a restaurant we ain't even heard of, but maybe you might want to go try it. All right. So throw those out there. Let's see what y'all got on y'all list. Top 5 fast food specialty items. So now we got to go into this dumb segment that we do every week now. It's actually funny though. Dr. Davis's dad jokes. Dr. Davis's dad jokes. What you got for us today, man? How many push-ups I got to do?
Man, about 1 million.
I got about 100. I got about 100.
All right, man. This first one, I don't think it's gonna make you laugh, but I'm gonna try it anyway. All right, ready?
Let's see.
All right. So Joe, you know we're having all these storms down here in Texas, right? And you see the one storm they had softball size hail, bro. Like legit softball size hail. Messed up our roof, bro. Just tore it up, man. And so my neighbors come around, man. And he just straight up, bro. Just said gave us a new roof. Just gave us a new roof, bro. He said it was on the house.
Now, how many weeks you been doing this? How many weeks you been doing this?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That was absolutely the dumbest one you've ever done.
No, it ain't. All right, let me go to my next one, man. All right. All right, ready? All right, so check it out. So these 5 ants, right? 5 ants went on an ant farm, right? And decided to rent a house with these other 5 ants. Now they tenants. All right, my last one, man.
That was another dumb one, man.
my last one, bro. What's made of leather and sounds like a sneeze? What's made of leather and sounds like a sneeze? A shoe. Hey man, I'm here all night, man. Y'all know I'm here all night, man. I'm here all night.
Everybody out there listening, I apologize. I apologize. I apologize how bad those 3 jokes were.
No, you laughed at 2 of them. You laughed at 2 of them.
This fool said a shoe.
I heard the little boy say this was Gil. He said, "Hey, Dad." I said, "What?" He said, "I got a joke for you." He said, "What do you see when the Pillsbury dough man bend over?" He said, "What?" He said, "Donuts."
That was better than the 3 you said. Man, hey, hit us up on these Dr. Dave's dad joke. Did you laugh or you didn't laugh? If you laugh, that's for y'all out there too. If you laugh, you got to do 20 push-ups per laugh, man.
Yeah.
So, good dad jokes, bad dad jokes. Ain't no such thing in me as a bad dad joke. There are bad ones, but it's just to make y'all laugh, man. It's just a fun segment for y'all, man. Let us know what y'all think about the dad jokes, man. Should I have to do push-ups or not for these? Y'all tell me. Should I have to do push-ups or not for these? Just let me know. Y'all let me know if I should have to do push-ups for them. I'm just saying. I mean, so that's Dr. David's dad jokes, man. Yeah.
There you go.
Let's get it. let's get into the topic at hand, man. Let's get into the topic at hand. We want to talk about a subject, man. It's not too late to talk about it. I mean, we've been out of the pandemic for a while, for what, maybe a year and a half now. They ended it about a year and a half ago. So we want to talk about the pandemic, like as the world turns post pandemic life. So we want to talk about what the pandemic did to us as a society, as a community, and how we move forward, and how the future looks for us as not only a nation but as a world. But we'll probably try to condense it into a national format instead of a world format, because we don't really know, what other countries are battling at the time besides this dumb Ukraine Russia war. Let me not call it dumb, but senseless and pointless Ukraine Russia war. So let's jump right into it, man. The pandemic started. It started in March of 2020.
Yep, 2020. Yep.
All right, so it started March of 2020, man. How did your pandemic? How did your pandemic start off? Like, when was that call given to where you was there, where they were like, shut it down, shut everything down? Where were you at? What were your mindset at that time, and how did you slowly try to battle the new norm?
So I said March 2020, but to be honest, the shutdown started March 2020. The truth of the matter is, if you look back at the amount of illness and death that was happening in November 2021,
Yeah.
the pandemic probably began its inception there. I'll just tell a quick story about KJ, my oldest. He got real sick, and I had to rush home from work, and they couldn't tell what's wrong with him. His heart rate was going up, and sometimes I just wonder if there was like elements of that, because they never found out what he was ailing from. But back when this all happened, when coronavirus, or when that virus hit, as an educator, being told to shut down, that keep your distance, and having to go home and work from home was for at the beginning, you like, man, I get to work from home, is rewarding, but it became quickly depressing and very like I don't know, draining at the same time. You think with all this new time and all this new energy, that you will be able to do more. But it was having to be shut down and locked in your house, giving instruction to students, trying to run a school building remotely, was very difficult. Even though it sounds like, man, working virtually from home should be pretty easy, but I was having to run a building and be in charge of my kids' education at the same time at home, right? So when the school system shut down, and everybody had to we had to find a way to get computers in the kids' hands, get hotspots in the kids' hands, so they can still get instruction during this shutdown time. It was very nerve wracking. But the world was, for lack of better terms, the world was dying, so it was understandable. I remember looking in the news and seeing that Italy was one of the first places to shut down, and the death tolls in Italy were crazy, and it had me worried, because it was on our way to us. I think we were the last one to get fully hit with the pandemic. But the people in Britain, in Italy, were dying, and I started seeing it was in Iran, and I was like, whoa, this is not a good deal. And so we had to shut down, and isolate ourselves to contain the virus. Now, people have their different viewpoints on if it was necessary, and if should we did the herder syndrome and just let it all take place. But it's easy to say when people were losing their lives and there wasn't enough hospital beds for all these people who were sick. So it was a devastating time, because not only did you deal with the pandemic, you dealt with a lot of social justice issues that were going on at the same time. Our world was in a lot of turmoil, and the pandemic was just the icing on the turmoil cake. And so it was a stressful time, I would say, for the world. And I can't imagine what other people are going through, and people who actually lost family members, how it affected them. But there are still people who are physically recovering from it, and so that was a dark time in our in our world's history that I would prefer never to go back to ever again. So
Yeah, yeah, and thinking about that, what you said, that it probably started back in November. I remember my son's mother, she was sick in December, I believe December, and they said it was pneumonia. But if I think back in her symptoms,
mm-hmm.
they were she still think it's pneumonia, but they were all COVID symptoms, right? To me,
Mm-hmm.
they were all COVID symptoms. But she still hold on, because but I do. Well, the only reason I'm saying that is because I do believe that it was here right before March.
Yeah.
Clearly, but in March, let me tell you where I was at in March when the pandemic happened. I was just coming when we got completely closed down. I think I was still in the at the time I was in the mental health facility. I think that's when we got closed down. I think I was either in there or just coming out of it. But real close to that time frame, I was in this facility. I had a trifecta, right? I had a trifecta of COVID, the facility, and going through a divorce. Right? I had this trifecta of things going on in my life um, that kind of put me in a bad mental space. But I agree with you. It wasn't just here in the United States that you looked at and focused on. My complete focus for COVID was how many people were dying.
Mm-hmm.
Even though China has 1 billion people, still seeing millions and millions of people die is crazy. When the US hit 1 million, like, I don't care what you think politically or whatever you feel about it, 1 million deaths is 1 million too many. 5 million deaths
Mm-hmm.
is 5 million too many, right? So however you feel and this herder syndrome, to each his own. I know where I stand on all that stuff. I won't get too deep into that. Maybe eventually, but not right now. I believe in life. I believe in whatever it takes to keep all life going. We should have done, whether that was wearing a mask or isolating, whatever. I feel like it should have been done. I don't think we did a great job as a nation. Period. In the process, we could have been better. I mean, there's a lot of nations that were a lot worse, but I feel like we were bumping heads. I know we're gonna talk about this political aspect of it. There were so many bumping heads politically that we didn't get things done as fast as we could have had them done. Right. And so we can jump right into the political aspect now. Is that's one thing about the US is that we have this democracy, and I love having a democracy. I love having an opinion. Um, but when our democracy butts heads so much and so often around topics and terms and situations that are important, such as the pandemic, I think it's a bad thing for our nation. I think whether you like it or not, I feel like somehow in certain situations and cases there has to be uniformity within our nation. And I feel like during the pandemic we lack that. Like you also mentioned social justice, we lack uniformity on social justice. We just lack uniformity through this whole process in every aspect of our nation. And in all honesty, Key, we became the laughing stock of this world.
100%.
Nations were laughing
100%.
at us, man. We were clowns. So what do you think about the political aspect of this pandemic thing?
I think the political aspect, I think there was so much false information coming from everywhere along that were it was so politically driven. And I think that's what that is what hurt us the worst, because in order to sell a certain propaganda or a certain topic or a certain belief or a certain will and get people on board with it, that was more important than saving lives, right? And I think it became the battle scene went from being the pandemic and the health piece to um the rights and vaccination. Like it got off the humanity piece, right? Even if we would have said simply You know, it's your right to mask a social distance or what have you, and just did herder syndrome. I think there still would have been some type of political upheaval on the right or the left
Either side.
about that process. It became more about politics than saving lives, right? If the herder syndrome, the herder method was the best possible way to go about do it. There have been pushback about that. If masking up and closing out business, I think, and it wasn't about safety. It wasn't about. It was more about. It was more about um, uh, my political rights more than saving my brother or sister. And and we lost. We I feel like we lost as a nation a lot of humanity during that time. I think we were already losing it because of the political stuff. And I think what happened is we had so much political confusion and so much political fighting before the pandemic that was easier to roll the pandemic topics into that cross aisle fighting, and we became as citizens became the casualties of war. We literally became the casualties of war because of people who couldn't put differences aside to make the right decisions for our people. For instance, even when President Trump got the vaccination and pushed for the vaccination, people still fought it because of the political bounds that it was that the political lines that had already been drawn, right? The political lines had already been drawn. So regardless of what he did and what he fought for, those thought processes had already been drilled and killed in those few months. And it became more about my political rights as a person than okay, let's put this crossfighting aside, and let's come across and say, hey, how can we save the most lives possible? How can we eradicate? How can we put our resources together, collectively put our resources together, and end this thing? And and us as citizens became the casualties of war. But what it did, Kev, is it created a further snowball with social and political issues. It became the
They were still
it went
fighting.
yeah. So it became, but it like so it be the pandemic became the nucleus of the fighting. It had nothing to do about saving lives. It had to do it was it was a political point used by both sides to strengthen their case for political power. That's my problem with it. That we became the casualties of war, and we let that pandemic issues become the nucleus to uh political arrogance, political like political power, political infighting. Like it's all became political and not social. And that's my problem. That's my problem with the politics. I don't care what you and whether you believe it or not, America is a multi-party system, not a two-party system. It's a multi-party system. It's just two parties that have the most power, and those two parties decided that we're going to take the pandemic and use it as ammunition against the other, rather than saying, "Hey, Democrats, let's talk. Hey, Republicans, let's talk. Let's come together and figure this out." It became the most selfish. It became a tool in one of the most selfish political fights I've seen in the history of our country.
Yeah, I agree. And I just want to say something quick on the herder syndrome or the herder process. I wasn't going to take my son out in a pandemic with the possibility of him dying.
Yeah.
I'm not hurting with the possibility of death. It's just not something I was going to do. So I wasn't. I'm telling you right now, I wasn't for that aspect of it. That's not political. That's just personal. That's personal. Because I'm not. Again, as I said before, I'm neither Republican nor Democrat. Um, be honest, because I'm not gonna get into the details of that. But a couple, another thing where because I don't want to stay. I don't want to stay on the pandemic part too long because we need to get into this post pandemic part. But another thing two areas where we saw change, major changes, the evolution, not evolution, but the outpouring of cases of mental health and the increase of social media, right? We've talked about both in podcasts before, We just saw during the pandemic when people got housed and got isolated that we saw more cases of mental health issues or mental health items, suicides, entering treatment facilities. We just saw more of it. It became not that it wasn't there. The isolation has caused us to see it through a more focused lens. That mental health was a problem, and then social media, people found ways to try to cope with the pandemic by increasing their social media presence and monetizing it. Right. So those two areas, you want to dive into mental health or
Yeah,
social media.
I would like to, because we with mental health we spent a lot of time either secluded we spent a lot of time in seclusion. And so that left us with our thoughts, that left us with our emotions, that left us with a lack of connection. And so we did see an increase in mental health issues, but not truly not truly increasing mental health resources. And so we did see an increase in suicides and suicidal ideations. But the most concerning area we saw these increases is in our children. Um, I'm waiting to see a true study about the level of suicidal ideations and suicide attempts and successes with our students, with our kids during that time period, because they were left to their own vices as well. They were left. There was increase in cyberbullying. There's not a lot of opportunity to address that cyberbullying. But so we had to do with our children, but also with the mental health of ourselves, and being left alone with your thoughts and in seclusion with your thoughts and with your issues, and being finding a way of navigating it. For instance, some people got new issues. They're losing their jobs because businesses had to close because of the pandemic, the death of loved ones. But truly, services to address those anxieties and those depressions were not there. And so we did see an increase in anti-depression, anti-anxiety medication. We did see an increase in people who wanted to get counseling services and therapy services. And so it was a very trying time and a very dark time mentally for most people. Um, and what we're seeing now is that's not going away anytime soon. We're gonna get into post pandemic, but that is it's not decreasing. Right? It's not decreasing. And you thought, oh, pandemic's over, we're getting back outside. That those they're not. I think the pandemic actually shown a light on the issues with mental health, especially I could speak. I think it shows us showing a light on mental health in all communities, but especially the African American community, a community who historically uh, we historically don't really deal with our mental health and trauma, um, uh, or we have other ways to cope with those things. But you saw that our culture really got hammered with mental health issues during this time. So now it's the time. Now that we open back up, it's time for more resources. But yeah, mental health was, I think, the one of the most destructive factors of the pandemic.
Yeah, another part of the pandemic that was very destructive was small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen a lot of small businesses close. I don't know what the percentage is of small businesses and ones that survived it, but the percentage isn't high of how many small businesses were able to withstand the pandemic. Even if they withstood the pandemic, post pandemic, we saw some of those places say the pandemic was just too tough. We tried to see if we could
Mm-hmm.
better back out the pandemic, and we just couldn't, and we got to close our doors, right? So, and the government tried to help with the P2P loans and the way to help small business loans and things like that. But once again, the political infighting limited
Mm-hmm.
that. It caused it helped, but then it limited it also. But some of these places, these mom and pop places that try their best, who've been going for some been going for years and years and doing it on their own, just couldn't survive people not coming to their places. They can't afford the delivery fees that some of these DoorDash and Grubhub were charging for, like some of the mom and pop food places. The fees that Grubhub and DoorDash was charging to do their services, they couldn't manage those fees. They couldn't take that personal hit because they either you had to hike your prices or you had to eat those fees on your side. They can't withstand doing that for too long. No business truly can for too long. And we just saw a huge decrease in mom and pop stores and small businesses. We saw them go to the wayside, and um, yeah, we haven't seen that recover either. We haven't seen small business recover much at all either.
Let's just be clear: the country had to decide on, um, uh, and this is very. I'm not saying this is an easy decision. It was protecting the economy and capitalism, and protecting lives, right? But you could say protecting the economy and capitalism will protect lives. I mean, and you could say vice. So I think we're not saying that this was an easy decision by any means for anybody. The problem I have is when it became a tool for political fighting, when it became the nucleus of arguments to justify political power, to justify political changes that had nothing to do with the success of people, right? So no one is saying it was it was an easy thing to do, the easy decision. None of them. The closing down businesses, uh, entering social distancing CDC requirements. None of that was an easy decision. All right, but it was used as they were used as weapon. The pandemic was used as the weapon, and that's a problem. And we didn't truly, because there was so much focus on using that using it as a weapon, that we didn't spend a lot of time on addressing mental health, uh, and the need for that. Even if we increase, this would have been the perfect time. This is my opinion, to increase the access to broadband and Wi-Fi internet, which then could have led to the increase. I know some states did do it, where some of their cities are completely free Wi-Fi and broadband, which could increase the increased telemedicine, could increase online therapy sessions, and we could address some of those needs. But our focus was somewhere else, and I think that hurt us in the long run. I'm glad we're out of it. I'm glad we're now coming into a new normal, but I think we made a lot of mistakes as a country, and I'm not blaming any side, one particular side, more than the other. I think all are culpable. I think all are culpable. And so I just want us to make those same mistakes. God forbid this ever happens again, that we come together as people and focus more on humanity than we do political station.
I agree. But let's get to the meat of this topic, right? People discussed the pandemic for years now. They've complained about it. They've praised some people. Whatever. Pandemic happened. Like I said, we've been out of pandemic. Has it been a year? Or they officially announced that it was about a year, maybe year and a half at max. So now we want to talk about post pandemic and what we'll consider this so called new normal, if you want to call it that. And what that looks like for us, what based on what we just talked about with the pandemic time, what do those same aspects that we saw during the pandemic, how do they look now? And what does the future look like in all this stuff, right? Because if it's called new normal, some of these things they can be what it is for the long haul. How does that affect us as humans? How does that affect us as business people? How do we prepare our families to deal with this so-called new normal? The first thing is technology in the economy, like this the so-called digital age, and everything is going to the technological aspect. And yet, a pandemic was a time where we had to use technology to get things done. We couldn't do things in person. How does this new technology advance us as a world to be greater, right? Can what we were during the pandemic, can we use what we became during that time period when it comes to technology, can we use that to propel us to what we will be in the future? Is that post pandemic outlook strong, or is it kind of weak?
I will say, first of all, that yes, it's a new normal, everybody, and there's no going backwards. We won't be the world that we were prior to the pandemic in most areas, right? Just think about the I think the last bird flu was in 1919. It's back then. um, what came out of even that pandemic was a progressive movement towards greater and different technological innovations and innovations in medicine and in the market and business and politics. There was a lot of innovation that came out of that. So this is a new normal, right? We won't go back to it. And when it comes to the digital age, we were already in the digital a digital revival in the world already. And even in some of the classrooms, that we need to get back to pencil and paper. Yeah, well, we get back to pencil and paper, but the way society is going right now, we're going to be a digital society. We're going to be a digital economy. It's here. It's not going anywhere. But I think it will allow us to advance if embraced the right way. Right, there's some things that we got away from during that time that we probably need to bring back, and embrace it within this new normal. But the fact of the matter is, AI is here to stay. Virtual learning is here to stay. Um, the opportunities in various jobs and professions to work from home virtually is here to stay. Schooling virtually, that's from K to 12 and post secondary, is here to stay. Right? We For us also, we're dealing with technology. Um, uh, Delivery services for groceries, for food, are here to stay. And there's a lot of changes um, that have happened that are not going anywhere anytime soon. But I think if done in an efficient way, will create way greater growth for us as a world. Um, but it all is going to take us putting aside some feelings and things like that to get to that point. But the digital age is here, and it's only going to advance. And either we embrace it and make it better and make our world better for our generations to come, or we just continue to nag about it and just slowly let it roll out. But there's so much we can get out of this new digital age. We just got to embrace it and be willing to understand that this is where we are now, and there's no going back.
Yeah, so I want to say one thing, and then next thing I'm gonna say after that is gonna probably bring us into this next one. Is that a question I just asked for you? Do you think this digital age, the digital economy age, or whatever? Do you think it's going to start creating races? And what I mean like that is, we saw after those pandemics in the previous, and we saw leading up throughout the years in 20s and 30s and 40s, we saw races, right? We saw certain races as to become the first nuclear power,
Arms
races
races, yeah.
to become when it comes to manufacturing, and we saw the steam races. We saw all these races, right, to be the first at some. Do you think with some of these digital aspect of things that we're going to see races in these way, like who can get there first? One thing I want, we always see in cartoons and TV is like, I wonder who's going to create the first force field, right? We see it all the time in cartoons of like. So my question is like, do you think there's going to be we're going to see a lot of more digital races, like to get
I,
to somewhere phenomenal, like to this awesome thing, not nothing like nuclear weapons where you can destroy the world, but something to where we're the first nation to do this, where it's going to create us and establish as more of a superpower, or somebody else is going to get there before us and they're going to be now established as a superpower because they got it's that arms race, that race to be better in certain areas for each nation.
yeah, I think we're already seeing it. I think we're already seeing nation versus nations nation races for technological innovation, and for business innovation, for economic innovation, and honestly, Kevin, and arms innovation. We're already seeing. I think the pandemic and the increase of the digital age is playing a big part of that. I just realized that we were on Generation 5 fighters jets, and we've already started building plans to start building Generation 7 fighter jets. So I think what you have is this. We already had these conflicts between nations, right? And now um, you see you see another Cold War. I don't know if anybody's noticing that we're entering another Cold War with Russia, with China.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's becoming in a way to where, like, think about this. People talk about the issue with Ukraine and Russia, but a lot of the concern with this is because these other small countries that used to be small nations, a part of the USSR, want to become part of NATO, right? Um, which will give NATO some more superiority in that region, and there's a lot of pushback from that. So there is becoming a arms and position race, right? There is becoming a technology race. You got the fear of cyber attacks from Russia and from Korea. Like, it is becoming who can establish their dominance in the technological field to show superiority on a worldwide scale. And to me, it is a digital Cold War. We're in a digital Cold War, and if and people can push back on my thoughts about that, but there are the networks of communications are closed. We are closed, for lack of better terms, between Russia, America, and China. And there is this fight towards who can claim superiority in the economy, in the arms, and in technology. So we're there. I think the pandemic just allowed for, like I said, I just think the pandemic just what happened during the pandemic was a lot of people just lost their humanity, man, and we are definitely in a digital Cold War.
Yeah, I personally think that nuclear weapons are soon going to become obsolete. This is just my
Yeah, I
opinion.
agree.
I think they'll soon become obsolete because the war will definitely turn digital. If you can control everything digital, that's where your power is going to be. Because you can't fire a nuclear weapon if you don't got the computer to do it.
Hmm.
But that leads me into what you were saying about this post pandemic and how we're starting to move into these technological ages and things like that, and everything has been done digitally. So let's talk about the job market, right? Is that hurting the job market? So I'm an accountant for a manufacturing company, and we've been having, we were at the time, we're having hard time finding people to fill roles and jobs. Now, this is, employment rates would be crazy for the United States out of this book, but now we're finding it hard to even employ people for people even coming to work, which
Hmm.
also caused supply chain disruptions for a while, and a little bit still going on, to where we couldn't even get things, not just us, people around the world couldn't get things shipped on time because they couldn't get people to come to work to get things shipped.
Hmm.
Is this digital age affecting the the job market, the home market, it's not hurting the technological fields, right? Because people can work from home and do those digitally from their computers at home. But for those like manufacturers and things like that, is this hurting those businesses? You need people to work these jobs. But if everybody, like, I can sit at home and not do nothing, or not do nothing, I can sit at home and do stuff from my computer. I can work from my computer. I can be on TikTok and make money on TikTok instead of going to work just 9 to 5 and make it. Did this hurt the job market? Did this affect us that way? My answer is yes. I think it significantly affected us.
I'm gonna say yes, but I'm gonna give a caveat. The truth of the matter is, employment's increased in our nation, right? but that's because of the digital market, right? Like you said, people are doing jobs so they can stay home. Like, let's just think about, since I'm an educator, I'm talking about teaching. A lot of we are, every state, every district, everybody in this, every educational system in this nation is struggling to find teachers. And a lot of people are saying because teaching is just so hard, it's difficult to the parents and the kids. Yeah, I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna say that's about 30-40%. The other percentage, the largest percent, is I don't have to deal with that, and I can go work at home doing something digitally. I think the job market has created a variety of jobs in the digital realm, which are um, which is growing tremendously, and the need for that is growing tremendously, but it's pulling away from those other white collar and blue collar jobs that we still need. And so I think it's hurting the market, like you said, in a way that shippers, teachers, um, blue collar workers, it's become it's they're losing employees because the digital market is an easier market to work in. It's less stress. You set your own hours. There's so many benefits to the digital market, to the technological market, that technological businesses, that it's like, who wouldn't, right? So I can't blame people going to that route, but it is absolutely hurting, um, uh, uh, what I can say, standard or normal professions, or professions that need physical bodies on hand. And so
If I
yeah. So hmm?
if I give a personal example, especially the teacher part, is and this is near and dear to me because, like I've said before, my son has autism and he's in the special education classroom. His special education teacher didn't have. She was one teacher to 12 kids. This is
Hmm.
special ed. This is special education. One teacher to 12 kids that most, if not all, need modifications. Tell me how that one teacher would be able to do modification for 12 different kids based on their needs. They couldn't get her a TA. It took them forever to get her a TA to help her in classroom. And I personally think she didn't need a TA. I think she needed another teacher in that classroom, another special ed teacher in that classroom to give every kid a modification. So yeah, there's a limit in people come want to be teachers and all that, and it's not just it's affecting our kids, it's affecting our babies, but we can't get people to teach them because everything is digitally. It's easier going this other way. We still need our teachers.
so so
We need our shippers, right?
All right, so think about this. You said 12 teacher in a special education classroom, which is standard 12, but just they definitely should have had aid. But anyway, but just think about it. We got this focus on differentiating instruction with our students. Think about 25 kids and one teacher with 25 different kids with 25 different things you need to differentiate to try to meet their needs. Right? Like kudos. I still think it's the best profession in the world. Shout out to every teacher who working there hard to make sure our kids have the uh, can understand the concepts and strategies necessary to be successful in the global market. Um, but we are losing them to these. We're losing teachers' job. I lost two teachers because they going to work in the technology field. Um, I right now have 11 openings that I got to try to fill before August, which is crazy. It's different if there's 11 openings with people applying, but literally there's nobody applying for these openings. Kudos to those who did go that route to the technology field and found a way to make a lot of more money in these new fields. But it is hurt us, the lack of pay, the lack of respect for teachers, the lack of pay. Uh, there's so many things that make the teaching profession hard. Still the most wonderful profession in the world, but it makes it difficult. And if they can go make more money doing something else they love and make double the pay, I don't know what we expect, y'all. I just think I think what how we fix this, Kevin, is as a nation, we got to put more value on some of these professions, right? We got to put more value. If we think teachers are valued, we should pay them like they're valued. I mean, we've been saying this for how many decades have people been talking about teacher pay? And so I think I can't blame the technological advances and new positions. I can't blame them, but I can blame us not rising those other needed and necessary positions, and showing their prestige and the necessity for them as well, and showing them the respect with pay and looking at how many hours they work. We need to reevaluate those things. Until we do it, we still keep them at this low plateau. People are going to continue to jump ship to go to these jobs where literally they making double, working less. I don't know how we're going to keep people. We're not giving raises to teachers. We're not. I don't know, man. I just don't think we're valuing certain professions enough, but expect for people to continue to work in those professions. We're going to lose more and more teachers until we do something about it.
I'm gonna skip around here a little bit. Talk about political real quick. How has the pandemic changed us politically? Now, I can tell you from my point of view. Some might disagree, but it has. I believe post pandemic, the divide has been unblurred. Right, pre-pandemic, pandemic, the divide was blurred. Right, it's like you knew there was a divide, but people. I think post pandemic, politically, the divide has been unblurred. People are standing on one side or the other. There's no give. Now, me personally, I'm still blurred, right? I'm not. I'm gonna say blurred, but I'm still in that middle, right? I'm not. I don't. I'm not. I haven't drawn a line for me politically. I know what I feel and what I believe, and in whatever party best aligns with that. That's who I'm voting for, whether it's Democrat, Republican, Independent, Free Party, whatever you want to call them. That's what I'm going for. But the line has been unblurred. People are either left or right. A lot of people there isn't much in between anymore. And I think it's not only became with the boldness of our previous president, and not the boldness of also our current president. Also, I think they're both on the same person on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? I think they're both like literally the same person, but just on a different plateau. Um, I feel like our two major parties have made it clear that it's their way or no way. There's not too much bipartisanship going on, as much as I think there should be, and there's a lot more hate. So I do believe the pandemic has shown us, has unblurred this line, and to be honest with you, Keith, I think this line will stay unblurred. I don't think there has to be somebody coming to presidency that comes with some cojones and just say, I want what's best for this country, no matter the political party. I don't think we're going to get that. I think anybody come from any side of any party, they're going to draw that line. I don't think it's changing.
No. And I'll simply say, Democrats stop blaming Republicans stop blaming Democrats, and let's start looking at ourselves. To me, it seems so simple, right? To me, it just seems so simple. Instead of trying to fix things, we would rather blame. Have you noticed that? Like, instead of coming together and like figuring out how to fix it, we would rather say, "Oh, it's their fault. Oh, it's their fault." I don't care whose fault it is. Let's fix it, right? And it's just about. I think you're right, though. I think the lines are unblurred, and I think it's dangerous because we've seen an increase in hate. We're seeing,
but this there's a problem. Thing is that we know this, but it's almost like in order for me to give you what you want, you got to give me what I want. Instead of saying this is what's best for all, like it's you got to give me something. See this or this. Like that's what I don't get.
And the truth of the matter is, the hate It's coming from both directions. Like it's like it's literally like the two sides are on each on a different side of the wall and just throwing spears over the wall at each other. It is so like ain't nobody got no shield, ain't nobody trying to like have peace talks. Like
And they don't know who they hitting.
They don't know who they hitting, and there's so much collateral damage, and it's like we don't. I think there's I think this another when we talk about technology and post pandemic, the internet has made it so much easier. It's made it so much easier to hate, and I don't I just it's
So
like
let's not
man,
social media
are we really going
episode.
backwards? Are we really going backwards? Right? All the progress. It has not been enough progress, but all the progress to this point, and we just want to go backwards to where it is a country divided, ready to implode on itself.
I'm gonna go
All
against you.
because, huh? Go ahead.
No, you said we're going backwards. I don't think we're going backwards. I think we're going forward. I think this is a new thing. I know we had the Civil
Mm.
War. That's a whole different aspect. I think we're going forward. I
But I'm
think
talking
this
about
is
with
a
hate.
new norm. Oh, with hate. Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about with hate, right? I think you're right. I think this is something new, but I think like we went back from like addressing the hate head on to saying we're like I'm a complete believer in free speech, but now we're justifying hate with free speech. Like we like it, on both sides, on both sides, and it's just like for me, it's like how do we get to the point? How are we getting to the point to where how many times have you heard the word love, right? How many times have you heard the term honor and the term to be tolerant? How many times have you heard like it's okay to agree? Remember, it's okay to agree to disagree. Like more, it's like no, you now it's just you're wrong,
You're
and I
wrong.
hate you because you're on that side. To me, it baffles me of the level of humanity we've lost in the matter of of less than a decade, man. It's just man, there's been there. I think we've backslid, man. I think we've and it was never great. It was nowhere near great. We way away from great, but I think we've even slid back from that. And so but you're right. It's all a new thing. And I don't see anybody stepping forward to say, "Hey, look, let me check me. Let me check me." It's just not happening, man. It's sad because we can't even commune together as people if we have any difference now, man. It's sad.
It's sad when it's so clear in the government, man, because it's a person. I'm not gonna get their names right on both sides that are spewing terrible like rhetoric that's so divisive. Both are. It don't matter that they're women, but it's. I don't want. I'm gonna get their names wrong. But it's two of them that are like so far left and that's voiced their opinion so strongly. It's one that's on the Republican side. She say so much that like they be like they be want to tell her
Mm-hmm.
to shut up. Like she just be saying some nonsense. But then we got somebody else on the Democrat side that's be spewing like pretty much saying F like she didn't say this, but her what the way she talks is like F the Republicans, right? And it's like on other like F the Democrat. And these are people that are in political office that have voices that are shown on TV and around the world that are doing this, man. And I don't get it, man. Like when did that become okay? That our
Mm-hmm.
leaders show that much I don't even know what to call it, that much ignorance visibly. Like visibly. Maybe they did in their chambers and yelled at each other, but now they are visibly in front of the whole world showing these negative aspects on both sides. And it's scary, man. It's super scary that I don't know. I just every time I see these people talk, man, but like I bet you China and all them be looking like, well,
They
we
be
got a couple
laughing.
more years. We got a couple more years, and we can beat them in these technological races. America ain't gonna be a superpower, which I think America will always be a superpower. I don't think y'all can touch us in many areas, but we just look
Mm.
dumb, man. And it's people in our political power offices that is making it worse, and it's sad. It's
You
just
know,
sad.
yeah, it is. You know, post pandemic, there's some things that's simply not going to change, right? We're in a digital age, and this digital age is not going to do anything but increase, right? This is where we are, right? But there's so many things that digital age is allowing us to do that we don't have to do. We don't have to tweet about everything. We don't have to spew hate and do all the stuff on social. Like it gives us opportunity to be more communicative with each other, but we don't have to use it to be divisive. And so my thing is like we're in a new normal. This is where we are. But that don't mean we have to lose. You say it all the time. That don't mean we have to lose our humanity, man. We let's do what's best for everybody. Let's make decisions. And everybody. No, is everybody gonna be happy with the decision made? Absolutely not. There's never a decision that 100% of people agree with completely, right? But let's make sure that we're investing in evaluating systems, learning about one another, learning about the need, learning about where to go, learning about these things so that we can make the best decisions as a country. Let's drop all the hate. Let's drop all the blame. I think, Kevin, the blame is the worst part. It's always, you did this. No, you did this. No, you did this. No, you did. Man, I don't care. I don't care. Let's just fix the problem. It's that simple for me. I don't care. I don't care if you blue or red. I don't care. Let's fix it.
Yeah, I think the post pandemic world is going to consist of where we go with 4 letter words, right? 2 4 letter words. How we where our nation goes is based on which one we choose. You can choose that we're going to continue this hate, or we're going to love. What we choose as a nation is going to let us know where this post pandemic time is going to go. Are we going to go where, like after the pre last pandemic, we went to Jim Crow? Where is this post pandemic going to lead us to? Right? It's going to lead us to another Jim Crow. Or it's going to lead us to be an even more powerful, loving nation, to where all other nations will look at us and say, "That's the direction we want to go." Right now, we're not getting that. Right now, nobody wants to be like America. But can we put ourselves in a position to where, in the post-pandemic, things changed, things are different, the arms races are happening, the races are happening. Can
Mm-hmm.
we add love into the equation and make this the best nation it could be?
Yeah,
Or
because like I
will we
said,
add hate to it and fail?
yeah, because none of those things are going away. Like none of the things that have been added during the pandemic are going away. It's gonna be about what we do with them. That's what it's about, man. It's about what are we gonna do with them. It's here to stay. What are we gonna do?
And so let's
And we
let's end it
haven't been
with this.
making the best decisions now.
Yeah, let's just end it with this question. Let's ask you. We talked about the negative and all that, but let's end with some positive. How did this pandemic show resiliency? How do we use that resiliency to catapult us into the new norm, into the future, into post pandemic?
I think we show resiliency in being able to being able to lock down and do what's necessary and follow the guidelines for the most part during the pandemic to um to get through it. But I love the fact that we didn't fold, right, as a country. Like we didn't let that the decisiveness make us crumble. Because we could have imploded as a country. We could have easily we got close to a point in time where we seemed like we were getting ready to implode.
Civil War.
Yeah, and so we could be, but I think I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm gonna bring this up, and maybe I shouldn't, but I will. Um, the January 6th insurrection. It was an insurrection. I don't care what party you are. It was an insurrection. I'm gonna tell you what showed our resiliency and the fact that we are America was the fact that the political party where this insurrection began, the leaders of that party, other than the president of the United States, were against it. Absolutely, like they stood for America. That was the one point during this pandemic where I saw a sort of a bipartisan stand for American values, where it was you have tried to attack. You did a direct attack on our government, and I don't care why you did it, who told you to did it, what part are you from. It's wrong. And I think that was the only time I saw this, like when everybody came when Vice President Pence said, "No, I'm not doing it." He stood on his American values, and you saw other Republicans standing on their American values, like, "No, we're America. This is not what we do." That was one of the only times I saw us stand on American values. So that was that gave me it. Kind of, even though the insurrection was terrible, those reactions kind of gave me hope, just a little bit, a little bit of hope, because it was like, no, I don't have the power to do that, and I'm not doing it. It was a legit election. So I just think we show resiliency in that. I think we showed resiliency in the way we dealt with some of the social issues, and brought justice to some of those social issues. But Kev, I think the resiliency was. I'm just glad we didn't crumble, because if resiliency wasn't that prominent, but I'm just glad for those 2 points that we show resiliency with some of the social issues and with that insurrection issue.
Yeah, for me, we were resilient, right? But all I saw was what we could and can be.
Mm-hmm.
We were resilient to a point, but we weren't resilient enough.
Mm-hmm.
But you saw glimpses of what we could be. And that's what I want people to hold on to and to focus on, is that we as a nation are a very resilient nation. We started off as a very resilient nation fighting against Britain, right? We were a very resilient nation from the get-go. We know what we can be. We know how we can be, and we see glimpses of it. But it's now we got to get to a point where that becomes pride. That becomes who we are. It shouldn't just be
Mm-hmm.
showing resiliency here, a little bit there. We should stand strong as a nation, as completely resilient. That we're gonna fight for everything that's right and just. And this pandemic, this post-pandemic, showed me what we can be, and I just want us to be it. To be
Mm-hmm.
be resilient, not be more resilient, not be kind of resilient, but be resilient. Period.
Yeah.
No high, low. We are the United States of America. This is who we are. We ain't budging on who we are. We're united, as our name says, completely united as a nation. Color, creed, nationality, sexuality, we are united. You ain't got to agree with all that stuff, but guess what? When it comes to this nation and our belief systems and what we stand on, we're united. We're united, and we're resilient. And if anybody, any other country, attacks us, cyber attacks, physical attacks, whatever it is, we will stand together and we will not waver. We will not budge.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see it more. I want to see it in the social justice areas that, yeah, some people are doing stuff wrong. Like, You probably support the police officers, but you gotta see there's some that are doing things right, and we're gonna come together and fix it. We're gonna fix it. Right? This ain't right. I do believe in this, but we can see there's some off here. Let's fix it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to see. Complete resiliency. Full resiliency. That's only can be done with that 4-letter word, man. It's the 4-letter word. Love.
Yep.
Love. It's the only thing that matters.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. That's TuVues, man. Y'all know we get deep into this thing, man. Only because we love people, man. We love our nation. We love, man. We just love. We just love. I don't know how to put it any more simpler than that.
Yep. So let's keep it going, man. You may agree with some of these topics, you may disagree, and that's fine. Y'all know how we feel, man. We want the agreement and the disagreement. We want to we want to be able to have these talks, continue to have these talks. But we are the best nation in and I am proud to be an American, and
absolutely,
we have to continue to grow as a nation and do the right thing by all people in this nation. And I have faith. I have faith.
And
Now we need to work.
We do it in this post-pandemic era. This is our opportunity right now. We gotta do it now. Unify in love.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. That's TuVues Podcast. Hit us up. TuVuespodcast@gmail.com. All social medias. I don't think we're on Twitter, but I don't think we're gonna get on Twitter either, man. Unless you want to get on Twitter, Key. But hit us up on all social medias. Got any questions, topic suggestions? We definitely take suggestions on topics. See what you guys want to hear. Hit us up. We'd love to hear from y'all. TuVues.
We out.